What's up, everybody? This is episode 52 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting us so far. For those who haven't seen my episodes, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But without further ado, we have a coaching legend, one of the biggest coaches, most legendary coaches in the state of North Carolina. He's won 11 state championships at Greensboro Day School in North Carolina. I give you Mr. Freddie Johnson. Coach, thank you for coming on to share your testimonial.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be talking to you today, and what a great job you do with sports. And I follow you, and I feel honored to be asked to be on the show today.
Thank you, Coach. So, my first question for you is, what is Freddie Johnson's coaching philosophy?
My coaching philosophy is academics, playing hard, and character. And I think in that order, basically, because I believe that academics got to come first, and then you got to play hard, then you got a good character, and that's your culture. So that's our culture, and I think our culture is the most important thing of our team.
So, talk about, when did basketball begin for you?
You know what? At 15 years old, I knew I wanted to be a basketball coach. I was at the YMCA, and I started coaching a team up there. So I coached that team all the way through my last year of college. And I fixed my academic schedule where I did my student teaching during November, December, January, and February because it was during basketball. And I was very fortunate. I had a man named Linwood Edwards, who was the only AD and basketball coach of the day school before I got there. He taught me everything I know. He went on and became principal at the all-black school in Greensboro, Dudley High School. But it wasn't out for him teaching me the ins and outs. And the most important things, how to deal with parents, he taught me. And so I knew, as I said, since I was 15 years old, I got lucky at 22, became head coach at Greensboro Day School because of Linwood.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So before we get into Greensboro Day, let's talk about, you growing up in Greensboro. And what was like the basketball culture like in that area?
Yeah, really good basketball culture. We had Bob McAdoo. We had Curly Neal, play for the Globetrotters. His daughter actually went to our school through 5th grade.
Wow.
We had Lou Hudson, Curly Neal both went to Dudley. And McAdoo went to Smith. We had the great Page High School teams with Danny Manning, et cetera. And then Grimsley was really good too. So we had a great basketball culture in our area. And I grew up as a baseball player, really. But I thought that was too slow and too boring. That's why I wanted to coach basketball. And I was lucky, a guy named Mac Morris, who's got to be a legend in North Carolina. He coached at Page High School, won multiple state championships. And he took me under his wing and let me start coming over to his house at 19, 20 years old in his practice to learn from him. So I was fortunate.
So did you get to play basketball at Grimsley High School?
1 year at JV. I was 5'6".
Wow.
And I didn't grow until I was in college. I played 2 years at Greensboro College.
Okay.
And that was a great experience. But 1 year on JV, and I loved it. But, I just was too small.
And you didn't want to be on that bench anyway.
Well, I didn't mind being on the bench. I like being a part of the team. But, I at 5'6", they didn't need any 5'6" guards on the bench. So they gave me something else to do. So I went and started playing at the Y and started coaching down at the YMCA. And that was the best thing that could ever happen to me.
So when did so you said 2 years at you played 2 years at Greensboro College, graduated in 77.
Right. I was smart enough. We had a guy named Clarence Caldwell who shot 66% from the field, who could honestly, you talk about Division III players who could play up. He could have played in the ACC by far, and he chose Greensboro College, which I don't know why, because he could have played higher up. But I was smart. I knew to throw him the basketball. So by doing that, I got to play a lot, and I learned a lot of basketball from my coach there. And it was a great experience for me. I continue to coach at the Y through that time too. Wow. So I was still coaching and doing that.
When did Greensboro Day come into play?
Well, my last year of college, I did not play basketball. I planned out to do my student teaching at Greensboro Day, and I got lucky to fall under Linwood. So I fell into that position. I was assistant varsity coach, head middle school coach. Then in May, he informed me he was not coming back. He was going to go be a principal. And I got hired as the basketball coach. Then 6 months later, I got hired as the AD also. So I was able to just fell into it. It would today I couldn't get that job or any job probably. So 43 years later, that's where I've been. And I tell you, I would say the worst thing that's happened to me is the last 4 or 5 months with this virus and not seeing my kids and not being able to coach and not being around I call it my family.
Yeah.
And it's been very difficult not seeing them because I went about 3 months without seeing any of my players. So, except on Zoom.
Yeah, I know. I mean, every high school and college coach in America is using Zoom right now to keep in touch with their players. But
it's interesting. We had a Zoom call the other day with one of our players who's a recruit from Winthrop, and Pat Kelsey, who's an exceptional coach, learned under Skip Prosser. He did a great job of doing it. So I picked up some new stuff just being on that Zoom with him the other day.
So let's talk about your first season at Greensboro Day. What was that like?
We were 5-11. My first 3 games, I lost by, I think it was 128 total points. I probably wondered what I was doing. We only had 8 players, so it was a real experience. So it was my first couple of years. I learned a lot of stuff, and I learned that number one, the most important thing I learned is not to run the score up on people. And people did not do that on me. They were kind, and I think that really helped me, to be honest with you, to lose like that early. It made me humble. You know, of course, you think you know everything at 22, of course. I found out real quick I didn't. And I think it helped me to grow. And to this day now, I mean, I hate when scores are out of control.
Yeah.
I just can't stand those kind of games. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because it's like the coaches sometimes what they don't realize that it should be about the kids, but it's mainly about them, you know? That's how they make it.
Yeah, that's a shame. And you see so much of that in travel basketball. And, I mean, they're still pressing up 40 points and stuff. And I'm over there thinking to myself, guys, you're going to be on the other end sometime in your life. You need to learn, not to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you didn't win your first state championship until 1989?
Correct.
So talk about, the first 12 years. Like, how was it building a program at that time?
You know what? What we did is as athletic director, I tried to schedule all the small schools in the area at the middle school level because they could see our school. And we were able to get some kids who came to our school in 9th grade because their schools ended in 8th grade. And so that's how we kind of built the program. And I was really lucky. The late 80s, I got a kid named Thomas Roberts who came to our school for a visit. I actually wasn't even at school that day. I got back that afternoon, and that's all everybody could talk about. And he put us on the map. And we got in something called the Little Four, which was a tournament with all the public schools. And first year we played in it, we sold the most tickets to the event, and we won it. And Thomas hit a baseline jumper to win the game in overtime. And he went on to go to William & Mary, and he was the 3rd leading scorer in history of William & Mary right now. But he kind of put me on the map. Then a kid named Justin Gainey came along, who now is the associate head coach of Marquette, who played at NC State. And he kind of pushes on up there. And we've been lucky. We've had a lot of great kids, and they're very good students, too, to come along in my career. And I've been fortunate to have so many good players right now.
So in your 43 years at Greensboro Day, what was name, some of the players that stood out?
Oh, Lord, you put me on the spot there. Well, of course, Thomas Roberts and Justin Gainey, for me, are the two guys that kind of got me over the hump. There are a lot of great ones I've had in the recent years. J.P. Morman, who starts at Temple, and Jordan Perkins, who starts at North Carolina Central. Jordan's going to be if they get to play this year, he'll be the all-time assist leader in the history of North Carolina Central. And those two guys were winners. And a kid named John Newman came along, who starts at Clemson, and they kind of put us over the top, those guys. But I had so many good kids along the way, and I can't name them all, but this year's class, I graduated Carson McCorkle, who'll be going to Virginia, and Cam Hayes, who's going to be playing at NC State. And they were really good players too. So, I've had a lot of good mid-range players and a lot of good kids who accept their roles. Like I said to you, our culture is the main thing at our school, and our kids accept that you come in, you might average 20 points a game where you were, but you're going to average 10 for us because we distribute the basketball and share the ball.
So at basically your alumni list is incredible. You got guys that's working for coaching in college basketball, people that's
Right.
working in corporate America for IMG, the V Foundation, the Sixers,
Yes.
Nike basketball. One is a professional golfer. That's amazing.
Yeah, the professional golfer is one of the best shooters I ever had, Bruce Woodall, and he put to Virginia. And we swore he's going to play there. They hurt his ankle really bad playing pickup, and the golf coaches told him no more basketball. But he could have actually walked on at Virginia. He was such a good shooter. So he could stroke it. Now, McCorkle can stroke it too. But, Woodall was something special shooting the basketball.
So, talk about, basketball in the state of North Carolina. Like, for those that may or may not know about it, what's it exactly like?
It's unbelievable. You think the players we've had come out of here. People hear about Michael Jordan, but I don't think he was the best player in high school or college in North Carolina. A kid named David Thompson was, who played at NC State. I'm sorry, but he by far is the best player I've ever seen. I had a kid named Jason Capel who played only 1 year for me in 8th grade. And I'm going to tell you right now, there wasn't a better 8th grade player I've ever seen. The only one close, I was thinking about it the other day, was Chris Washburn, who, played at State. He was an unbelievable player. He just got a little messed up and didn't fulfill his career in the pros. But we've had numerous great players in the state of North Carolina. And you talk about ACC basketball. NC State, Carolina, Duke, 3 of the best programs ever right there. And then, of course, Wake Forest would fall behind that. Then you can look over at UNCG, a guy named Wes Miller, who went to our school through 6th grade before he moved. He's done one heck of a job over there with the program. So, you can go anywhere in North Carolina and say a good game any night in college and high school.
So speaking of the ACC and college basketball in general, how's the rapport with the college coaches, from Duke, UNC, NC State, Wake Forest, UNCG, NC Central? How often do they come by practices and games?
Well, we had last year over 60 coaches, D1 coaches, coming to our gym during fall workouts or during the season. So, we have a good, when Carson committed to Virginia, Tony Bennett was in our gym 3 weeks in about an 8-day period, to get him. So, State was in there all the time. Wake Forest, Duke's been in there, Carolina's been in there. So we've been really fortunate. And you don't want to forget Central. They got a great coach over there. He's done a great job. They've been in the tournament almost every year. And so, even your smaller schools have done really well in our state. And Queens was in Charlotte. They've been in the top 4, I think, the last 4 years in D2. We've had 2 players to play down there. And I think we're fortunate in North Carolina to have such good basketball. We really are. And have such great colleges. So we just want to see them play this year. We're hoping they get to play.
So, I forgot Davidson. Shout outs to Bob McKillop.
Bob McKillop. What a great coach he is. To think he's been there 20 plus years. He actually, I worked Davidson's camp. My suite making roommates were Bob McKillop, Rick Barnes, who's at Tennessee, and a guy named Jeff Bezadelic, who was at Wake Forest.
Wow.
We were all together, and I tell them I got the best job. I love my job. So, they might make a lot more money, but I enjoy my job more.
Well, Coach, I could say that may be true because you've been fortunate to stay at at one place for over 40 plus years. A lot of college coaches don't have that that luxury. You know, in that game, like you said, there's more money involved in college basketball, but that job security is never permanent.
No,
Luckily,
no.
luckily, you've been able to stay at one place for a very, very long time and establish roots.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I never left Greensboro. I got the job of my dreams. I'm working at the best school I could ever work at. I'm supported big time there, and honestly, people ask me if I'm going to retire. And after the last 5, 6 months, I can promise you I'm not retiring anytime soon. But that has assured me to coach a lot more because I miss so much the interaction with the young people and being a part of their lives. Because one thing I try to do, and it's been a really tough world out there, with all the racial incidents and stuff. I've been on the phone with my former players quite a bit, talking to them, and I've enjoyed just getting back and talking to them about stuff that really means a lot to them. It means a lot to me, and we, working through some problems, and they'll let me know their feelings about certain things, and it's a give and take. And I'm a lucky person. I mean, the other day I got John Newman. I get home and I get a Father's Day thing from him. I get one from Jordan Perkins. I get one, 3 or 4 more other guys sent it. John Newman last weekend says to me, "I love you, Coach," out of the blue. Just sent me a text. And those kind of things mean so much to me. And I feel so fortunate to have kids like that in my program. So
That's beautiful, Coach. That's beautiful right there. I mean, in your time there and your time at GDS, have any schools colleges ever reached out to you to try to get you to coach on the college level?
the closest, I almost went to Davidson one time as the part-time assistant coach, and Greensboro College, where I went to college. I thought about that one time when my son was graduating from the day school, that I could coach him there. Thank God I didn't take the job because he was able to go into Carolina, and he had a great experience. He got to play 2 years of JV, and he got to be assistant coach with CB McGrath, and he got to go to every Carolina game for 3 years and sit right behind the bench. And my daughter went to Carolina, and she was a manager there for Roy and worked in the basketball office. So both my kids had great experiences in basketball, and I'm glad I stayed where I am. I don't regret it. I don't even think about it, to be honest with you. The only 2 times I thought about it is what I just told you about. And that was because my son, and I was probably got 8 years in the coaching at the time when I thought about going to Davidson. So, but I never thought of it again. I don't want to. I love what I'm doing. I can't imagine doing anything any different what I'm doing right now. So
Now, talk about your son Robert. Like, how does it feel having him on the sideline with you?
it's special. It's special to have your son involved in your program. It's special that we have that connection with basketball, that we talk all the time. I think it's helped our relationship having something so much in common. I'm happy. I call him, he's in the real world. He's in the banking world, and I'm in the play world because I love my world too. So, his birthday's today. He's 34 years old today. So
Happy birthday, Robert.
so I'm lucky. He's gave me 2 grandkids, which I'll tell you, they're a lot better than kids. Grandkids are a lot easier to raise than kids. So you can spoil them, but it's really special to have him on the bench with me, have his insight. He's got a great basketball mind, and he brought all that Carolina stuff with him to the program. And he kept all the practice stuff when he's down there. He watched Roy do practice. He brought a lot of knowledge. I got Jeff Smith on my staff, who was with me, left and went to college and coached and came back. He's probably the best defensive coach in the state of North Carolina. And I got Jeremy Spadell, he works at BB&T. He does leadership training there. And that's one thing that I think separates our program is Jeremy, because he teaches. We do a lot of leadership stuff with him. And we talk about our culture. We talk about what's important, how to get there, how to know each other and stuff. And I'm lucky. I got Colin Smith, who unfortunately was a terrible accident in high school. He's in a wheelchair. The guy is so valuable with us. He breaks the tape down. He calls my players. He goes over tape with them. And I got a young guy named Jonathan Leonard who's with us. And he's been a big help. He's a soccer guy. I ended up hiring as a basketball guy. So we got a good staff that really gets along.
Wow, you guys have a huge coaching staff.
We do, and but it's kind of neat because we all bring a different perspective to the thing, and we can sit in a room and disagree for an hour and come out of it all agreed. And and the best thing about it is we all get along so well. And we all like each other. So and our families like each other. So that makes it special.
So at one time you coached the NC Gators?
I did. I started the Gators in '77. We won the state that year. There were 3 teams. That's all they had. It was 17 and under. We won the state. They called me that night at 11:30 and told me I needed to pay $2,000 to go to the Nationals. Now, I didn't have $2,000, and my kids didn't. So that was the start of the Gators, and we became the biggest AAU program at one time. I got out of it, then went back into it and got back out of it again. But it was a great experience for me. I did it, for about 30 years, and I think I helped a lot of kids. It was just really good. I had James On Curry, who was the leading scorer in the history of North Carolina. Kobe White broke his record. We had a bunch of great players in it. And it was a fun experience.
I gotta look them up.
Yeah, we were good. I mean, James On was unbelievable now. He's the one, he unfortunately got a little trouble. He's senior in high school and ended up going to Oklahoma to play. And he had a scholarship to Carolina. So, but we had some great teams and great players. We had Felton and them one year. We won the 19s with them. We were loaded, Justin Gray and Felton and all those guys. So it was a good experience. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I'm not doing it now because it's so different now.
Yeah,
all the traveling we're doing, and I feel sorry for those kids who are in 2021 right now because I don't know what we're going to do if the NCAA doesn't let the coaches come out and do any evaluation in September.
It's funny you say that, Coach, because I was just at a tournament out in Sewanee, Georgia, a couple weeks ago, the TipOff Classic. So what they did,
unbelievable facility, isn't it?
Yes, is a great facility. But being that the coaches couldn't be there, they actually got to see the game through the live stream. From what the tournament director was telling me, there was 5,000 people that got to see the live streams of the games. A lot of kids got offered. But the most unique thing is what they did was after the games were over, they made everybody leave the gym so they could wipe down the benches. They enforced social distancing. They enforced the masks. So, that was a big thing. I feel like if other states could model that, I think things will go back to normal.
Yeah, I actually went to Big Shots in Myrtle Beach last weekend. I had 3 kids playing, and I went there and observed it and got to sit with Paul Biancardi, who's the expert in high school basketball.
It's a good man.
I learned a lot sitting with him. And they cleared the gyms, wiped it down. I took pictures, how they had the seating done. It can be done. And, and having those kids wear a mask is really important. And I think it can be done. I think we can do it on the high school level. I think you're going to have to cut down the fans that come. But you're going to have to empty. Like you're going to have to play your girls' game, then empty the gym.
Yeah.
Wipe it down, then play your boys' game, just with the boys' fans. But still, kids really do that now, and they streamed all the games. And this weekend, they're in Charlotte, Big Shots is. Rock Hill. And they're doing the same thing down there. Then a guy named Rick Lewis, who does a great job with Phenon, is doing it the next weekend. So I'm going to go down and watch him and see how he does it. So I'm hoping some of these guys who do these tournaments will go and look at it. I know the guy who does the Chick-fil-A is going this weekend.
Right.
Look, because we gotta have we gotta have these kids in school. We gotta have them doing sports, but safety definitely comes first. We don't
Right.
want to get safe, but we gotta do everything we can to get them back in school and get them
Right.
doing their sports teams. Because they don't, what are they gonna do? And I just read today the MEAC is canceled fall sports, and
Yeah.
A&T, which is in our city, got one of the best football teams there is, and now they're not going to be able to defend their title again. And what are these kids going to do, especially the seniors who are expecting to play? I just wish we could come up with a solution.
Me too. Because right now in New York, there's no gyms open. They recently, so as soon as the pandemic started, they took down all the rims in the 5 boroughs. All the rims were taken down.
Wow.
So 2 weeks ago, when I came back from Georgia, they had put the rims back up, you know. And right now, I feel like the gyms are need to be open. But I mean, the parks will do for right now until September. But I feel like there's right now the parks department, they shut down the permits. So without the permits, they can't do tournaments, which is what we're known for. So unfortunately, these are the times that we're in.
Well, I tell you what, if we don't open the gyms and we don't open the rec centers, we don't open the parks, what are these kids going to do? I mean, and they're not in school. I mean, you can do all the Zoom you want to do. You and I both have been Zooming a lot lately.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm about zoomed out. Doing a lot of them. And I just can't imagine these poor kids. And it makes me sick. I mean, because they're dying to get out there and do something. They're dying to get an education.
Exactly.
They want to, and we got to provide it for them. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know what the safe way to do it is, but we got a lot of great minds in this country. Somebody needs to come up with something.
Yeah.
All of us need to work together on it. We can't be. It doesn't matter what we are. We got to. This is greater than any issue. We got to get these kids back doing stuff and
Absolutely.
take care of our kids. Because that's the key to our country, right there.
In inner city America, there's a lot of kids out here dying in these streets due to gun violence. Like right now, up here in New York, we've gotten up to 500, like more than 500 shootings, and we had 2 kids in the basketball community that recently got killed. Like this week was the funeral of a young man that I knew that played at Monroe High School in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So recently he was killed 2 days after his graduation.
He was a recruited player, right? I heard a recruited player got shot up there.
Yeah, he was going to a school in California.
Yeah.
So
he just I mean, and that 1-year-old got shot. I mean, I just seeing the pictures of that, I wanted to cry because I'm just saying, what in the world are we doing? And what are we thinking about doing something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody could do that. I really don't. I mean, I just wish we'd all get along.
And another problem is it's like there's a lot of adults that don't want to see tournaments or anything relating to sports happening. But I feel like the adults, they're only thinking mainly of themselves. They're not really thinking about the kids per se.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we have to put our kids first above everything. And we got to do everything to make this world safe for them. And we got to get them education. And we got to, whether it's a trade they learn or something, we got to help them. You got to put them to work and get them to school. And I just can't imagine it if we don't go to school again. And I think a lot of colleges aren't going to go this year. And it just makes me just sick to my stomach to think they're going to be all sitting around the house all the time on the computer trying to learn. So I'm sad about that. But I'm hopeful. I won't give up, and I won't have bad thoughts. I'm thinking good that we're going to get this conquered and we're going to get back to normal.
Indeed. But yeah, anyways, back to you, Coach. So you coached in 8 All-Star games. So you coached in the Jordan Classic twice. You coached in the McDonald's All-American game in 2013, the Capital Classic in 1997. What were those experiences like coaching in big All-Star games?
God, I was awful young when I did the Capital Classic. I had Shane Battier, Elton Brand, Baron Davis. a guy named Ron Artez. You remember Ron, of
Yeah,
course.
it's
And
my
a
guy.
kid named Eric Chenoweth started for me. And so all of them, four of them ended up in the pros playing. And Barron, I'll tell you what, he could have been the best I've ever seen. If he hadn't had he had two ACLs on his right, I think, and one on his left knee in the pros. He was unbelievable. And Shane Battier's leadership. So I learned a lot from that year. Then I got to do the Jordan game. It was the game before the main game, the first one I did. And getting to do the McDonald's game was an experience you'll never forget. There with all those people. Then of course the Jordan game again with the top players. And it was I learned stuff. I love asking questions of the players. What was important? What did they do in their all season? What were their goals and stuff? So I did a lot of asking questions, and I learned a lot on doing those games. And I'll never forget them. To think where I came from to end up being able to do something like that in 5-11 my first year, and to get to coach those kind of all-star games, I would have never bet on that one. So
That's
never. In Greensboro, North Carolina, so at a school that basketball wasn't very much when I started. So it was, it was a private school. We might have had 30 boys in it my first year in the high school. That was probably it. So it was
wow.
small. Yeah.
So talk about Greensboro Day, the school. Like, talk about what everything that's going on there.
Well, you know what? We're lucky. Our head of school was really on top of this with the computers and the Zooms and online education. We honestly did a really good job, and our kids really didn't miss very much. But it is a great school. My wife was actually in the first graduating class there, and her sister was in the second. I actually started working there in the third class. And so I was fortunate, and my two kids went there, and I've had tons of cousins and stuff go there. And so I was pretty connected in the school that way. And it is a great academic school. We just got our AP scores back the other day, and we hit a home run with those. And
Wow.
it's an average SAT right at 1,300. And so you got to be able to do the book work to go to school there and keep up. And that's what I like the most. And what I love about the school, we had teachers who have retired. And I'll mention three of them, Trish Fish, Cindy Stan, and Kathy Davis. They, drop of a hat, a kid calls them up, they will come to the school and help them. And they've been retired anywhere from 3 to 5 years now. And that's the greatest thing about our school. It is a family, and you never retire. You're always connected to the school, and you're involved in all that. So that's a great thing. I mean, and we have faculty who get there at 7 in the morning, and we start at 8:15 to help the kids. And you can't beat that. So, your education comes first.
So you guys have an enrollment of 800 students?
Yeah, about 800, and anywhere between 80 and 94 in a grade in the high school. And just depends. We hit a high of 102. My kids were there. And of course, the economy cut it down a little bit there. And then we built back up. And now this virus thing, it's going to be interesting. The virus has actually helped our enrollment, which I hate for the reason it's going to hurt the public schools. And we need the public schools to be good because they're not going to be able to start. And so we've had a bunch of kids enroll at our school in the last month. So, and I hate that because I really do, because we need this. They need to have a good education because it makes our area better, and people want to bring businesses in and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely.
but it's a great place to be.
So you actually were inducted in 4 Hall of Fames. So your Hall of Fame, the NC Gators Hall of Fame, the Greensboro College Athletics Hall of Fame, the Guilford County Sports Hall of Fame, and last but not least, the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. That's amazing right there.
Yeah,
4.
it is. Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you, well, I haven't gotten this award yet, but the Morgan Wooten Award I'm receiving, and I'm supposed to have gotten it at the McDonald's game this year, and then we're supposed to get it at the Hoop Hall, the Hall of Fame, in January, which I kind of doubt we'll play it. When I got told I was receiving that award, that was the top award I can honestly tell you that I could get. And I'm so thankful to all my players and my coaches to allow me to be honored like that, because I think Morgan Wooten is the best ever. And I'm fortunate that I got to have lunch with him a couple of times, and at the McDonald's game, I got to visit with him, and he's by far the top of the top, in high school coaching. And when they called to tell me I got that award that day, I had to ask them to repeat it to me because I wasn't sure I heard it right, because I was so honored to receive it.
So talk about, your partnership with Nike. How's the relationship with Nike been since day one?
No, they're great. Nike has the best product out there. They have been great to us. They've done some great things. And I think all the programs they have for the kids is outstanding. I can't thank them enough for the opportunity to represent them. And being a Nike elite school is special. And I think our kids really enjoy that. And I think that when you're representing a shoe company that's the top and the best, you can't beat it. And because it's first class all the way. And they have done a lot for the U.S. and these schools and everything else, and help kids out and places out. You feel great to be a part of that name, so it's special.
Amazing. So last year you guys went 31-5.
Right.
Talk about that season.
Well, it was an interesting season for us. We never had one practice with our entire team. We started the year off. We started the year off with Christian Bailey, one of our key players, being hurt. He missed our first 12 to 14 games. Then Carson McCorkle broke his foot, so he was out the rest of the season. And then in January, we lost Bryce Harris and Brock Williams for multiple games. They were hurt. And our biggest win of the year, we beat Charlotte Christian at Charlotte Christian without 4 starters. And it was a miracle. And so it was exceptionally gratifying year, because guys had to step up and take on roles they were expected to. And when you lose a kid that's going to Virginia, you've lost something. And have Christian, who was the heart and soul of our team, missing all those games. It was just great he came back. We lost 2 games the Bass Pro, that we led the entire games to the end, and we just ran out of gas, because we went up to Bass Pro. Brock had just come off a concussion 2 weeks, and Bryce had got a hip injury, and he had practice for 19 days. And so we led both those games, but we died at the end. We just didn't have it, and then we were able to win our last game. But I think that helped us to get us ready for our state. And of course, we got beat by a very good Cannon School team, and they're an exceptional team. And we just unfortunately ran out of gas with our kids. So many of them beat up.
Oh, that was during the state championship.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that was a tough one.
So, alongside Carson McCorkle, you had another special player, Cam Hayes, that's going to NC State. Talk about Cam Hayes, because I've seen him in all the mixtapes, and he's really good.
He's really good, and he's almost too good, because he's going to have to learn to work a little harder for himself, because he's so talented. Sometimes he can get by with his talent, and I think he could be playing for a better coach to get that out of him. Kevin Keats is as good as they are. And he'll do a great job with Cam, and Cam couldn't have picked a better school. And one thing about Cam, everybody loves him. We just got our yearbooks last week. I can't tell you how many kids who are not in the basketball program, or maybe not even the sports program at the school, wrote something about Cam Hayes. He is the most lovable kid you could coach. I mean, everybody loves him, and he's a great kid to be around. He's fun to hang out with, and he's got his head on straight. And his parents are fantastic. They do a great job of raising him. And I think we forget sometimes to thank our parents, but that's one thing. Cam, he needs to thank them every day because they're about as good as his stepfather and his mother have done a wonderful job raising him.
Indeed. Shout outs to Cam Hayes and Carson McCorkle.
Yes.
So you also had a New Yorker for a year, Bryce Harris.
Right.
Talk about how
Really
Bryce
good.
impacted the
Bryce
program.
has got a high motor, and he is going to be a good college player. I think he is, his future ahead of him is bright. He is. He's also a great singer. We found out. We put him in chorus. He was late to practice every Wednesday because he had to take chorus. And but he is an exceptional kid. He had a terrible injury last year with the hip and knee, and he was out for a while, but he came back and finished up all state. He made all tournament and all three of the tournaments we played in. And he was a really good leader for us. We're going to miss him this year, but unfortunately he had some illness in his family. He needed to be closer to home. So we lost him for the year.
So talk about, some of the underclassmen that you have coming back next season.
Well, we're going to be kind of a new team. We got a couple new kids coming in who are great shooters and good players. So we're going to start 4 kids that weren't on our team probably last year, or at least 3. And 4 out of the top 6 probably will be playing. And so it's going to be interesting for us. Well, the 2 that are coming back, they're going to kind of anchor our team are a kid named Jackson Noble. He's going to be a junior. He's about 6'7", and then a kid who is really good. He's a sophomore. Actually, Winthrop just offered him the other day, Jaden Young. Jaden's going to be really important to us. Then we got a couple of young guards, Jordan Moody and Donovan Strickland, who are going to be helping us, and a rock kid named Cam Leake, who's really going to be important to us with his leadership, his defense and stuff. And he changed his shot from a right-handed shot to a left-handed shot in the middle of the season last year. And he's really perfected that shot. I actually saw him work out the other day for the first time, and he's ironed out everything. He was kind of hitching it, and he's fixed it. And so those guys, plus our 4 new guys, are going to really help us.
So let's talk about some of the tournaments that you guys are slated to play in next season. Like, what's the schedule looking like?
We're excited. We're playing the hoop ball. We're going to play Joe Wooten's team up there, and that's when I'm going to get the Morgan Wooten Award. And we're excited about that. That's the MLK weekend. And we're in the Chick-fil-A again, which I think is the tournament I like to be in every year. It's so good. And Gary, who runs that, does such a good job. Also, we're playing in Phenon, do a tournament, a classic in North Carolina. We're playing in that. And we'll be playing in one in Winston. Billy Martin runs that Michael Jordan's involved in, which is a really good experience too. So those are the 4 big ones we're in next year.
So this is a question I love to ask most of my guests before I lead up to the final question. So if you could go back in a time machine to 1977, what would you tell 22-year-old Freddy as he embarks on the journey of coaching high school basketball and is a recent college graduate?
I actually just told a young coach exactly what I'm going to tell you. Don't take shortcuts. Do not take shortcuts. Establish yourself as a disciplinarian first, and what you do for the kids first, not for you. And you can't. It's nice to give kids a chance, but you got to make sure you're taking the right type kid into your team, because it could destroy you if you take multiple kids who have shaky characters. And I actually just told a coach that 2 weeks ago. And that's what I would remind myself. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that over the years. And I'm lucky the school doesn't take kids like that, but we've also. And the other big thing I tell them, parents have changed, and you got to be careful what kind of parents you get. I mean, I'm just sorry, it's just different. You got to set the rules on that. If you don't, it's bad. So.
Emphasis on those parents. I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Like
It's a,
high school, AAU,
yeah.
college.
What I don't get, they understand that the college coaches are watching them. They are watching the parent, and
They
it
are.
hurts the kid.
It
And
does.
it just blows my mind. These parents they don't understand it, but it does. I'm lucky I have good parents. Now, I'm not going to say we got perfect all the time, but we have good ones. But we try to establish rules and stuff, and we do a pretty good job enforcing them. But that's what I would tell young coach Freddie Johnson in 1977 is what I tell him.
So final question. What's next in the future for Freddie Johnson and the Greensboro Day basketball program?
Well, many more years of coaching is what I want to do. I had no urge to step down. And if I had a thought of it, I don't have it anymore, because I'm going to tell you, I miss it. And I miss seeing those kids. And when I came to Myrtle Beach 2 weeks ago to watch them play, I tell you, I was so excited I couldn't sleep the 2 nights I was there, because I was so excited about seeing basketball again and seeing my kids. And now that we're getting to work out a little bit, it's nothing better than getting to say hello to the kids and speaking to them and watching them do stuff. And I just can't wait to get back in action. I pray every night that we're going to be able to do that too. So,
Coach, thank you for coming on to tell your story. I greatly appreciate you, and I wish you and GDS nothing but success moving forward.
no, thank you very much. It was a great honor to be here today and talk basketball. I really have enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Well, everybody, this is episode 52 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody, that supports Coach Johnson at Greensboro Day. If you are a student, parent, former athlete of Coach Johnson and of Greensboro Day, check this out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. Everybody stay safe, stay blessed, and have a great weekend. Peace.